Right, everyone, the news has broken. I'm sure everybody's seen it. UFC undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Moving forward, very, very important to me, just that I acknowledge everybody quickly who has supported me in this. I'm not going to say it was a tough time, but a bit of a challenging time over like the last kind of 10, 11 months that I have been inactive due to no fault of my own. But luckily, that is all behind us now. Massively appreciate the support from everybody. Massively appreciate the support going forward. I am going to keep this thing as active as possible. I want to be the best heavyweight ever to walk the face of the earth. I'm going to defend this thing as many times as I possibly can. I'm going to keep you guys entertained now. I'm going to really give back to everybody who has shown me support over the last year, over the last 5 years, over the last 10 years. Really appreciate the support and love from everybody, and we're going to see an active, defending UFC heavyweight undisputed champion going forward. Thank you guys, and I'll speak to you soon.
After months of confusion, conflicting messages, and persistent stalling, Tom Aspinall has finally responded now that Jon Jones is officially out and has made it clear he's prepared to assume the role of undisputed heavyweight king and keep this division going. Dana White said that Jon Jones personally called him to announce his permanent retirement from the UFC.
I mean, I just feel like anybody would understand at this point. Like, you know, I'll retire the heavyweight belt if I have to. It's like, dude, give the guy what he wants at the end of the day, you know? And I'm not talking to Dana directly. I feel like I'm at a place now where, you know, like I want to take what I find to be super fights. I don't want to fight dangerous up-and-comers anymore. I want to fight dangerous, established champions. So Tom can have the heavyweight championship. I don't really care about it. My body doesn't lie in belts anymore. I've created something much bigger.
You said the timeline for Jones, 2 weeks to decide what to do with the title, but whether it takes the fight or you're going to strip him. What do you think is more important, to keep the belt there so he can uphold his legacy, or we move the heavyweight division, take the title away from him?
Jon Jones called us last night and retired. Jon Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
Yeah, conditions. Francis says he changed his mind and he would consider coming back to the UFC. Would you be open to having Francis back?
He would consider coming back to UFC if what? One thing I've learned over the years about Francis doesn't always mean what he says publicly. What he says behind the scenes are different than what he says publicly. I'm not a big fan. I would be shocked if Francis ever came back here on lots of different levels. I'm not a fan, and he doesn't always mean what he says publicly.
Who is the number one contender right now?
So International Fight Week starts Monday in Las Vegas, and Tom will be in Vegas all week with us. So we'll get together with him and figure out what's next.
Since I won that fight, he's gone completely quiet, and he'll continue to go completely quiet about me until he retires, because there's no way on earth that he's going to fight me. Not a chance. I will retire Jon Jones without even fighting him.
Guys, normally we wait till the morning to release these videos, but tonight you got to stay up late with the boy because Jon Jones quit. I said it a couple weeks ago that if he didn't fight this guy, Jon Jones quit. And tonight Dana White announced that he did. Unbelievable. And then the news coming out of Albuquerque, I got a lot to say.
Fans were unaware that Jon had already committed to defend his title against Tom, but when it came time to make it official, he withdrew, leaving the UFC in disarray and the division frozen once more. Tom Aspinall, who has been training constantly, has declared that he is proud to be acknowledged as the true heavyweight champion without an interim label hanging over him any longer. In contrast to what fans had previously endured, Tom claims he will never hold up the division the way Jon did, but he is pledged to actively defend the title, fight the best, and ensure that fans never have to question who the real king is. Dana White also expressed his dissatisfaction, acknowledging that the UFC had everything planned for the fight with Tom and that Jon Jones' abrupt retirement was unexpected. However, in typical Jon Jones form, he abruptly changed his mind and kept everyone in suspense.
Jon accepted the fight, went to Thailand, came back, didn't want the fight. What happened?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Thailand was the end of it. You know, we were talking about it before that. But yeah, the fight was done. We had the fight done a long time ago. So why he decided not to fight, you guys will have to ask him that.
Is it accurate that there's a lot of reports about figures he was offered? Is it fair to say he was offered a lot of money to take this fight?
Yeah. Listen, he was offered what he deserves for that fight. Yeah.
I'll just come out and ask you, do you think he's ducking Tom Aspinall?
No. Jon Jones, I said it a million times, and I'll say it again. He's never ducked anybody other than that one goofy time with the Chael Sonnen thing. He's never ducked anybody. And, I think the reality is whatever changed his mind with this fight, I don't know. You'd have to ask him that. But, he's 38 years old, and I don't know.
Do you think if it was someone like Alex Pereira, he would fight them? And it's maybe Tom that he specifically doesn't fancy the matchup, doesn't fancy the age difference?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to these questions. Only he does. We had the fight done. Listen, our job is to make the biggest fights we can make and the fights that the fans want to see. And that's what we try to do. But the minute somebody starts talking about retirement, my philosophy on that, you should do it.
Did you know about the stuff that came out of Albuquerque last night?
I saw it today. When I saw it today, I said, oh, everybody's going to think this is why he retired. Maybe that is why he retired. Who the hell knows, man? But, I don't know. These are all questions you got to ask him. We had the fight done. You saw me talking about it very confidently that this fight was going to happen. And then he changed his mind.
What's up, everybody? Breaking news. So you came to the right place. ESPN MMA YouTube channel, myself. We got DC on the line to talk to his best friend, his former rival, Jon Jones, officially retiring from the sport of mixed martial arts. We knew, DC, that this had been part of the conversation. We were hoping it wasn't going to be the conversation just yet. I mean, I selfishly was hoping for a fight between he and Tom Aspinall. I don't think I'm the only one. In fact, I know the whole world was kind of hoping for that. In the end, he is not fighting Tom Aspinall. He is retiring from the sport of mixed martial arts, announced by Dana White on Saturday. Your initial thoughts to the announcement that Jon Jones is officially retired from mixed martial arts?
So my first thought, it was like, he actually did it. He actually did it. I didn't think that he would walk away. I didn't know that, he would allow for or would be able to handle what comes with making this decision right now and the optics of it, Brett. Do you understand what I'm saying? What it looks like to people. I didn't know that his ego would be able to handle walking away. I figured he would fight based on that. But he didn't. And it's crazy. I said something the other day, Brett, and I don't want this to be like me crapping on Jon Jones, but I said something on my YouTube channel. I said, if Jon Jones doesn't fight this guy, he quit. Right? He quit.
And so he is. He's walking away because he doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall. Because if Francis Ngannou was there or Alex Pereira was there, he'd be trying to fight those guys. He's made that very clear. He doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall. And so Tom Aspinall could walk around now with his chest up, chin up, and say, I retired Jon Jones. Tom Aspinall retired Jon Jones. There is no doubt about that. Tom Aspinall's presence is the reason why Jon Jones is no longer the UFC heavyweight champion. Jon Jones said yesterday, the fight doesn't excite me. You could make a strong case that this would be the biggest Jon Jones fight since DC2 in 2017. 2017. That's how long. With all due respect to the Anthony Smiths, the Thiago Santoses, the Dominic Reyes, even Cyril Gane and Stipe. You're telling me those fights were bigger than this? What doesn't excite you about this? That you may lose? Listen, I've never subscribed to the Doug stuff, but the way this has been handled has been shameful. It's been shameful. Like I said, UFC got him the money. Once he said no, it was time to move on. Tom Aspinall wants to fight twice this year. He'd like to fight in October and at the end of the year. More likely than not, you aren't getting those two fights. In the prime of his life, when he's killing everyone, beating them by knockout in 60, 70, 80 seconds, he had to sit around and wait for a guy because the UFC didn't want to move on in what was something that could have been determined back in November. It's shameful. And the way Jon is trying to spin this by he's such an awesome guy. He's such a great guy. But, he could slip. And there could always be another one. It's shameful is the word that keeps coming to mind. It's conniving. It's unfortunate because Jon does have one of the greatest resumes of all time. He really does. If you think he's the greatest of all time, God bless, you have a very strong case. But in my opinion, George St. Pierre never embarrassed himself, never embarrassed the organization, never cheated, never got caught using PEDs, beat the undisputed champion at 170, beat the undisputed champion at 185, never held up the division, vacated the title when he needed to, came back when he needed to. There's no debate. All these things matter. And yes, he has 2 losses, and yes, he avenged both those losses. And so they've known for quite some time, several months, that he was out. Dana White told us a couple of weeks ago. What did he say? Jon Jones agreed. But I told you all, he wasn't telling you the real story. He wasn't telling you the full story. The full story was he agreed and then he reneged. Dana White guaranteed this fight would happen. He guaranteed it would happen as recently as a couple of weeks ago. It was already not a thing. The way in which this has been handled has not been great. And the fact that Tom Aspinall, at the very least, couldn't get some sort of, oh, here's the belt, here's a ceremony, here's your fight, here's your date, is shameful. Now, ultimately, Tom doesn't care about any of this. He really doesn't. He just wants to fight. It was never about Jon Jones. As I've said time and again, Jon Jones was a great addition to the whole scenario, to the equation. Oh, wow, I could beat Jon Jones to become UFC heavyweight champion? Undisputed? Incredible. Look at me. Look at the stars have aligned for me. But ultimately, this guy just wanted to become champion. He wanted to prove he was the best. By the way, he has been the best for the last couple of years. Yesterday, I spoke to GSP, and I told GSP, and that interview is going to air on Monday. I spoke to him at Fanatics Fest. He did it the best. Again, compare what he did to what Jon Jones did. And this is one of many reasons why I consider GSP the greatest of all time. When GSP beat Johnny Hendricks at UFC 167, he relinquished the belt that night. He didn't hold up anyone. He didn't stop anyone from living out their dreams. And in case you're wondering, that's a part of the fight game too. Time-honored tradition. The train rolls along. He comes back 4 years later to fight Michael Bisping. Gives up the belt. 2-3 weeks later, he's diagnosed with colitis. He beat Michael Bisping, who was the undisputed champion at the time. He didn't beat some interim champ or fight for a vacant title, and he didn't hold up the division. That's how you do it. Not this. Jon Jones fought Ciryl Gane for a vacant title. He didn't even beat the real champ, who was Francis Ngannou. And then, when he got hurt, he waited a full extra year to fight Stipe. The fight didn't make sense a year prior. He fought him a year later, and it still didn't make sense. And then when it was time to fight the interim champion, he campaigned for Alex Pereira. And then when Alex Pereira lost, he campaigned for Francis Ngannou. This was never about not wanting to fight. This was a calculated business decision on Jon Jones' end to say, hey, I could walk away undefeated. I could walk away as the man.
Dana sees it as the frustrating end of an era, but Tom Aspinall sees it as the beginning of something new. He acknowledges that the fans wanted to see him test himself against Jon, and he has acknowledged that he did, but he has also stated that he is not wasting any more time thinking about a fight that will never happen, and that he is focused on what comes next, which means being prepared for whoever signs the contract at this time. The biggest buzz is about Ciryl Gane, who may be the main attraction at the UFC's Big Paris card in September. Other contenders include Alexander Volkov, who has been seeking retribution, and Jelton Almeida, who wants to shock the world and test Tom's ground game.
He's the heavyweight champion of the world. Does that defense he did against Curtis Blades count to his official defenses? Because then he would only have 2 more to equal Stipe, or does he have to start fresh now?
You guys are throwing shit at me that I haven't even thought about. I have no idea, but yeah, I don't know.
It seems like the most obvious choice would be Ciryl Gane for Tom, but is there a chance here maybe that, like, to start the new without Jon Jones era, we should maybe do a big super fight and maybe you can convince Alex Pereira to move up and do an Aspinall fight, something like that? Or what are you thinking about the Tom fight?
Well, once I get through today, tomorrow starts International Fight Week. I'll be back in Vegas tonight, and Tom will be there all next week, so we'll sit down with him, see what he's thinking, what he wants to do. He's been great through this whole thing and literally said, I'll fight whoever you guys tell me to fight. I'm ready to go. So I'm looking forward to the Tom Aspinall era.
said you had the date or the fight was agreed to. Did you have a date and a location for that? Because I think a lot of people assumed it would be at MSG again.
That it would be what?
At Madison Square Garden, like heavyweight.
Yeah. That's what we were shooting for. We were shooting for New York. Yeah.
So would it make sense to keep Tom on that date, or are you going to try to like wait long enough? Let's get you in there.
Well, yeah. I mean, we got to figure out the rest of the year. Aspinall's going to land somewhere. Yeah.
The interim light heavyweight champion, the man that's held the interim strap longer than anyone else, almost as long as Jon Jones has been the heavyweight champ, he's moved on. Mentally, he is now training for Alexander Volkov or Jailton Almeida. Right? I don't know what to make of this. You don't know what to make of this. Jon Jones living his best life, not being upfront about what his intentions are. Will he fight? Won't he fight? Listen, defend or vacate. Simple as that. And everyone's had enough of it. Got to defend the belt or vacate. Simple as that. You can't just hang on to it for an elongated period of time and then just decide to fight whenever you want. No, you owe a duty to the fans, to the opponents, to the division. You owe it to yourself. And I tell you what, he doesn't want to give Tom a chance because he's worried about getting beaten. Okay? Never mind that. Legacy's not like that. People will look at Jon Jones and say, yeah, he was a tremendous champion. And if he goes out there against Tom Aspinall, a new generation guy, and was to give it his best shot, and he was to lose, but he still had the balls to put it on the line, which, by the way, is what every single fighter does when they step in the octagon. We all take chances. We don't know. We aren't guaranteed to win these fights. But if he was to do that, and he was to lose in a valiant effort, people would say, well, you know, he's a bit older. Tom Aspinall came through, but look at the career that he had. Unbelievable. One of the greatest of all time, right? But if he avoids Tom Aspinall like the plague and he continues down this line, it will absolutely affect his legacy because, and I don't care what he's done in the past, because it doesn't embody the spirit of a fighter. Fighters are supposed to go in there against big, nasty, mean, tough son of a bitches, okay? And not knowing if they're going to win. That's what inspires people. I hate to talk about myself, but I lost many fights along the way. I lost number one contender matchups. Granted, a lot of them were on steroids.
All you motherfuckers are on steroids.
But I became the champion in the end. I never gave up on myself. And that's what people always tell me that they respect about my career, what they respect about other people's career, that they took on really tough fights. They tried their best and they scratched and clawed their way to the top. They did it in the end. And wow, take a bow. What a story. What a journey. For Jon Jones to walk away and go, oh, I don't fancy that. He's a bit nasty. He's got big hands. The man can wrestle. He's quick. He's fast. He's agile. Holy shit. I've never fought anyone like that. I'm living my best life, guys. I've made my money. I'm going to walk away. People will look at that and say, no, I'm sorry. That's not a real fighter. So he's got to accept the fight. And as I said, Tom Aspinall's moved on to Alexander Volkov, a man that he beat before, relatively easy, took him down nice and quick, straight armbar on the ground. Absolute one-way traffic. And there's also Jailton Almeida. Now, Jailton Almeida, yes, he lost to Curtis Blades trying to take him down. He got elbowed in the head a few times, but he's learned from that. He's come back. He's got 2 quick wins, 2 stoppages. The man is a force of nature. He's an absolute wrestling maniac. He's short. He's stocky. He's strong as an ox. He's only got 1 loss on his record. And I think he would cause some problems for Tom Aspinall. Of course, Tom might take him down, but I think on the feet he's taller, he's longer, he's quicker, and he cracks very hard. So regardless, I would favour Tom in both of those matchups. But just the fact that he has mentally moved on, and we're waiting for this announcement. I mean, we don't know what it is yet, but we're waiting. Something's going to happen soon. But the fact that he's talking about other people, it doesn't bode well for that.
Tom has made it clear that he doesn't care who it is. All he needs is a date and an opponent to show up. Fighters and fans are already observing the change. Tom is here to fight and has already returned to camp, honing his weapons for any style. He is not interested in politics or justifications. Strong wrestlers, towering strikers, and fluid grapplers, he's made it clear that this belt isn't collecting dust, but the MMA community is divided on Jay's legacy. Some say that walking away on top was the best thing he could have done, while others think that this validates what they've always suspected, that Jon didn't want to jeopardize his legacy by taking on a dangerous young heavyweight who gets better every time he steps into the octagon. Tom isn't buying into the GOAT talk, though. He stated it plain and simple. Jon's era is over, and his era is just getting started. He's promising fans excitement, regular title fights, and no more waiting around for someone to decide whether or not to show up.
When you're an interim champion, they only make an interim champion when the champion cannot defend the belt. So for Jon Jones, he couldn't defend the belt because he tore his pec muscle. So the interim champion means he should be fighting the champion right off the bat. That's not the case with Jon Jones, right? Because Jon Jones is going to fight Stipe Miocic. So the interim champion is supposed to sit there and wait. But by law, in like the regulations, once Jon Jones steps in the cage, he is stripped of his interim champion because the champion has returned. There is no longer for an interim champion. What is the point of having an interim champion when the champion is ready to fight?
This is the only sport in the world you can have somebody hold your career back.
I've been almost a year inactive with no prospects of anything. Just be ready, and we'll just let you know.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of difficult, like mentally, to.
Oh yeah.
This is the fight against Jon Jones. Like, not the fight is another thing.
Yeah.
This is the tricky bit where I really have to stay switched on, stay motivated, and I'm trying my best. It's tough. As you said a minute ago, no one really knows what's going on behind the scenes apart from me.
Exactly. You're in office cooking.
I train all the time anyway. Just because I've not got a fight doesn't mean I don't train. Like, I honestly can see Jon's point of view. I get it.
Yep.
I get it. It's just about the title for me.
Yep.
I just want the title. That's it.
Yep.
There's nothing else really matters. So
you're like, let me do my thing. Let me fight.
I just want to fight.
And I think that's the respectful way to go about it. It's like, you don't care if it's Jon, and it's no disrespect to Jon, it's no disrespect to anybody out there. You're just trying to fight. Yep. I just want to fight.
Yep.
Nah, man, Jon's retired. What are you talking about, guys? This is, Jon, you guys don't follow Jon on social media?
I don't follow him on social media. He said that.
No, me too, actually. Me too, but the guy is living his best life. He's had a fantastic career, we all know. We know Jon's a religious man, so I want to say God bless him moving forward in what he does with his life and his career. And, we move on. We move on. I'm the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. I'm ready to take on all comers, get this division moving again. Us guys have been waiting around too long. The contenders are getting sick of it. Everybody's getting sick of it. Even the fans are getting sick of this stuff. So Jon's retired, and it's time that we move.
The division is open now that Jon has formally retired, and the list of candidates is lengthy, including Cyril Gain Volkov Almeida and a few unexpected names who are already in the running to challenge the guy who is now bearing the whole weight of the world. For the first time in years, a man who wants to defend the heavyweight title rather than just pose for pictures with it has taken it from the GOAT, and now the hungry new lion is prepared to prove why this belt is rightfully his. Whoever signs that next contract better be prepared. Tom Aspinall has a clear message for everyone. Bring it on. He isn't scared to fight anyone, anywhere, at any time. The heavyweight class is once again active as the Aspinall era begins.